so well, I'm ready when you are. I
All
just
right.
hope that I'll be able to understand your questions.
If you don't understand a question, just ask me to repeat it, and I'd be more than happy to.
Will do.
All right. So, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a computer programmer. I'm 33 years old. I live in New York. I've spent most of my adult life in New York or the New York area. And I got into the Brony fandom last year in, I want to say around March. And very quickly realized that social outlets at the time for real-life interaction between people in the fandom. So I created one, and it sort of spiraled control from there.
You say you're a computer programmer. I think Tonic will get along with you just fine, considering he's studying to be one himself.
Yep.
Also, in terms of, say, just life
Yes,
and whatever you work on, who inspires you?
Audience in here. I approve.
What?
You approve?
I approve of what? I'm sorry, I was talking over you. That is my bad.
Come on, every pony, smile, smile, smile. Fill my heart up with sunshine, sunshine. All I really need's a smile, smile, smile from these happy friends of mine.
I cannot wait for the new server to come.
This is your server's doing that?
No, well, no, she's muted.
That means you.
I didn't mute her. I
I'm
didn't
just
touch it.
I'm blaming you for everything that goes wrong.
Why? Do you know what I have to work with?
Because I can. Do I know what you have to work with? Yeah, you have to work with me.
I guess I could say everything.
Guys, I didn't hear a word if indeed you said anything.
We did. It says you're muted on the mumble, though, which I find quite interesting.
What is going on?
This is quite odd, actually. Can you hear us?
Come on, every pony, smile, smile, smile. Fill my heart up with sunshine, sunshine.
Are you able to hear us, Purple?
Oh, no.
Oh,
No.
okay. She has dropped out. Hopefully, she will be back yet again.
All I really need's a smile, smile, smile from these happy friends of mine.
I don't know this is...
I apologize, guys. I'm actually back.
Gotta love Mumble. Gotta love my shitty server.
No, I don't think the problem's your server. I think the problem is the horrible internet connection I have here. But hopefully this will work better. My sincerest apologies.
Don't feel bad. We'll get everything worked out. This is, again, just a test, so if things don't go as smooth as planned, it's completely fine.
I suppose you can always edit it out in post-production before you post it on the internet.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan? You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. You know, I just do things.
So, yeah, let's try to resume where we left off.
All right, well, in terms of lifestyle and personality and whatnot, who are some people that inspire you, whether it's in the fandom or just in general?
Inspirations, wow. Well, I have a lot of inspirations. Actually, one of my biggest inspirations growing up was Carl Sagan, because he taught me that one doesn't have to have belief in the supernatural to have a sense of wonder in the universe. And also, this is going to sound a little bit silly, but one of my inspirations growing up was always Captain Picard from Star Trek. I always felt that he had a strong sense of right and wrong and trying to do good for the universe, and I've tried to emulate that sort of outlook, sometimes failing, but yeah, that's my geeky idol right there.
It's a thought that counts, definitely, and whether you succeed or fail, again, thought that counts. At least you're putting your heart into it. It seem like great role models to have, great inspirations and all.
Real and one fictional.
It doesn't matter if they're fictional or not, as long as they provide a good, moral background and such like that.
Precisely.
Now on to the third question. I mean, you see we use names like mine, Synesthesia, his is Tonic. Well, ours aren't that interesting, but we were curious, what was the story behind the name Purple Tinker?
Well, the purple part's easy. It's my favorite color. Most of my wardrobe has something purple in it. I've got a purple backpack, I've got a purple laptop bag, purple shoes, etc. And as for tinker, well, I like to tinker with things. I like to take things apart, put them back together, sometimes not as successfully as I take them apart. And I just like working with things. I like building and fixing things. And when I got into the fandom, I was starting to get into joystick modding. So I was always soldering pieces of joysticks together, and I figured, okay, I'm always tinkering with these things. I like purple. Purple Tinker was it was actually sort of modeled on Pinkie Pie's name, because she has a color as her first name and something else as her last name. And I even have like a full name for the characters, Perpella Jessica Tinker, sort of modeled on Pink and Me and a Diane Pie.
That's pretty awesome. I know we both made OCs for this, for our radio station here, our podcast, whatever you want to call it. We couldn't end up thinking of names, or at least I know I couldn't. I don't know about you, but
No, I had my name. I had my name back when I started playing League of Legends. That was a few years ago.
I'm all alone without a name.
Yeah.
I'm lost in the world without a name.
Well, sometimes it can be difficult to come up with a name for your OC.
It definitely is. And I'll put thought into it at some point, definitely.
I'm just too lazy. I don't want to make a new one. I don't want to make a new name. I just use the one I use now.
You are forgiven. Anyway, I'm definitely attending Bronycon in June, so I'd also like to know a bit of the history. How did it begin? Like, what are its origin stories?
Sure, I'd love to tell you about that. Well, the first Bronies NYC meetup was actually almost exactly a year ago, I think 2 days less than a year ago. As we speak, I'm actually in the hallway of the venue for the 1-year anniversary Bronies NYC meetup. And at that first meetup, which was held in Little Italy, mostly in this restaurant called Cha-Cha's, we were thinking basically this is like a small convention, like a miniature, micro-sized con. And someone said the name Bronycon. Someone said, we should start a Bronycon. I'm like, okay, I can do that. Challenge accepted. So the next month after that first meetup, which was May 2011, June 2011 was the first Bronycon. I actually scraped together a small con with around 100 people and an artist alley and, most of the con accoutrement within 1 month. And it actually worked out, and it just sort of snowballed from there. It just got bigger and bigger with time.
Speaking of it growing bigger and bigger, did you ever expect it to grow to the proportions it's reached this summer? I know you guys, I don't know if it was your decision, but everyone moved to a venue that held upwards of 4,000 people in Secaucus, I believe?
Yes, I actually was the one who obtained that venue. That was one of the last things I did before I stepped down, and it was in response to the overcrowding that happened in January. It was one of my highest priorities, was to make sure that there would never be overcrowding again. So I obtained a venue as large as I could without getting into ridiculous territory like trying to get the Javits, which never would have worked. And now I'm confident that the next Bronycon is going to have plenty of room, but there are still going to be tons of people there. To answer your earlier question, though, no, I don't think I anticipated it would get this big. I figured, okay, maybe we'll get to 500 people, maybe 1,000 people, but, now it looks like this one's going to hit 4,000 easily. It's already almost at 2,000. From past experience, it always doubles or even triples in the last month, and we're about to hit that last month, so it's going to be huge. And no, I didn't expect it to be this huge, but it's quite gratifying.
So, also, off the topic of Bronycon, the season 2 just ended. Great finale also, in my opinion, but anyway, it's off topic. Considering there's going to be a gap between the second and third season, as per usual, where do you see the fandom going over these next few months when there are no new episodes?
Well, judging from what happened last time, actually the episode drought, if you would, between season 1 and 2 was one of the most creative periods in the fandom's history. And the great worry was, okay, there aren't going to be any episodes for a few months here. Is the fandom going to die out? And actually quite the opposite occurred. The fandom exploded in the season 1, season 2 interseason period, and I'm expecting much of the same, because where there's no official canon material, people produce fandom material, people produce fan fictions, and they produce artwork, and now people are even starting to do fan animations. So I think the fandom is just going to continue to grow until season 3, and it's just going to continue like it was last time.
Yeah, I mean, especially since the fandom is growing, that provides more artists, more musicians, more writers just do what they do best and add to the community, add to what's coming out of the community artistic wise and entertainment wise. So there's definitely more opportunities for that, and as I see it at least.
There are tons of opportunities. And the interesting thing is, because people don't have to constantly be worrying about invalidation of their headcanon with each new week's episode, they can feel free to come up with their own concepts and have them completely undisturbed for a number of months, which is actually a wonderful thing for creativity.
Let's see let's see what other questions I had here. I had some ready here. Oh, okay, here we go. As a founder of a convention dedicated to fans of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, why do you think the show is so appealing to people outside its original target audience? Because we all know it wasn't meant for our age.
No, it wasn't, and yet it managed to develop that tremendous secondary audience. By the way, I'm getting some background noise from one of you.
Yeah, it's probably me. Give me a second to work with that. I'll be right back.
Sure, yeah, because that noise is going to...
I think I fixed that now.
Much better, yeah. That was
good to
stepping
hear.
all over my audio.
I apologize for that.
No, it's okay. Why do I think that it has such a strong appeal outside of the core audience? Well, if you look at the shows that have been done in the past by Lauren Faust and by her husband, Craig McCracken, you can see that they also have that sort of cross-generational appeal because of basically the fact that these guys are capable of writing things that work on multiple levels. If you're as old as I am, you'll remember Animaniacs and Tiny Toon Adventures had that same sort of synergy going between the child audience and the adult audience, because there's humor in there that anyone can get, and then there's humor in there that resonates more with adults. And, just to take a simple example, whenever they make a reference to Scooby-Doo or to the Benny Hill theme, or anything like that, that's a reference that the kids aren't going to get, but the adults get it. And, and this is just in season 1. In season 2, they've been a little bit more obvious about making shout-outs to the adult audience. But even in season, there was stuff there that, that children really wouldn't get. That adds just another layer of awesome to it if you understand what they're referencing. So basically, it's that they're capable of writing in a way that speaks to multiple groups at the same time. Throw into that mix the great animation, which is produced by some incredible people, like Sibsy and all the other animators, and of course music, which is incredible. Daniel Ingram, William Anderson do an amazing job, and you just have sort of the perfect storm of a show that speaks to people in all different generations.
In terms of references, I found myself smiling when they it wasn't exactly a reference, but they showed 3 ponies in a bowling alley that pretty much looked similar to the 3 main characters of The Big Lebowski, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I found myself smiling for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a reference. That was most definitely a reference. And the thing is, I, for example, have never seen The Big Lebowski, but I still enjoyed that scene, and I thought that the character designs were hilarious. And when I learned that they were based on The Big Lebowski, I just had that much more appreciation for the genius of the people behind the show.
It's definitely a movie I recommend seeing if you haven't, but if you have the time.
I'll find the time.
So next question. Who is your favorite pony and why?
Well, it should be obvious, of course, Twilight Sparkle. Not only is she purple, but she's an intellectual, she loves science, and in general, I just really like her outlook on things. Plus, she's very nerdy, and I can definitely relate to that.
Also, one last question. Are you a supporter of the New Lunar Republic or the Solar Empire?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to say no comment.
This is New Lunar Radio, so you can pretty much guess our kind of affiliation of sorts.
To be perfectly honest, I've actually tried to stay out of that sort of...
I mean it as a joke, of course.
Oh, of course, of course. Some people actually take it quite seriously, believe it or not. Some people think it's serious business. Personally, I like both Luna and Celestia, so...
Yeah, they're both good in their own respects. I find myself too laid back to really seriously care about that kind of stuff.
That's the right attitude to take.
I guess you could say I have a similar outlook to life as you do, in that respect. So I think that's actually all the questions I had for you right now. John, can you think of any other questions you might want to ask? If you have anything at all.
Not entirely. Actually, no. You
No.
said you're a computer programmer? Yeah.
Yes, I'm a web programmer. I
Oh,
mostly
web
do
programmer.
stuff in PHP and Perl, but I do know C, and so I'm not just a web
All
programmer.
right. C, I can agree with you there. I'm strictly desktop. I tried my hand at web programming, and needless to say, did not have a very good time.
He's the programmer out of the two of us. I'm just a comp sci minor.
Well, to each their own, and everyone finds areas of work in which they find themselves naturally enjoying themselves, and those in which they don't. I've tried programming, for example, in Java, and I couldn't stand it. And I know people who love Java and can't stand, for example, Perl, which I love. So, to each their own.
Definitely. Is that the only question you have right now?
Yeah, you pretty much covered all the bases.
I try my best. So I think that's all the questions we have. We really appreciate you coming by and helping us with our test run here.
Least I could do, guys. Least I could do.
It's been a lot of fun talking to you, and we appreciate all the questions you've answered for us. If there's anything you want to ask of us right now, we'd be happy to answer that too.
Actually, yeah. Tell me a little bit about your release schedule. How often are you guys going to be doing the show? Are you going to be releasing it in podcast format, MP3s for download or on the iTunes store?
This is where you shine right here.
You're the one doing the
Social.
logistics.
I'm the social.
and stuff.
No.
Yes.
What I'm thinking is we could build up to doing one like every Saturday-ish.
Yeah.
That's if things start going really well. For now, we're probably going to cut back every once in a while. Probably do it on a Saturday when, because I know both of us are going to have a full-time internship coming this summer. So we're probably going to keep it on the weekends for the time being and build up in terms of releases.
Yeah, weekends are pretty much the time to do your podcasts. I mean, I scheduled mine the first time at, I think, 10 or 11 p.m. Eastern. The problem is now Michelle Kreber, or is it Kreber? I don't know how she pronounces her name. She has this thing that she's doing on Saturdays now called Saturday Night Songs, so I've had to push my thing back to midnight. So it's kind of a busy schedule, but if you're releasing it as a podcast, it doesn't matter as much because people can always time shift it if they can't catch it live.
What's great is I didn't actually think of that, but that's definitely a great idea that I'll look into. We'll look into, and we'll figure out a way to release that way in terms of podcasting.
Absolutely. Well, listen, if there's ever anything else I can do for you guys, let me know. I think I've got to get back on my shop now. I've been neglecting my table at the meetup.
I apologize for taking you out of there.
Talking to you guys. No. It's been an honor and a privilege. And if you ever want to talk in the future, let me know.
Well, you have my email, you have my phone number. If you want to contact me for any reason, feel free to do so.
Cool. By all means, maybe we can cross-promote. Take a look at my live stream, the Old Gray Mare, every Saturday or sometimes Fridays.
All right, I'll be sure to do that.
All right, guys. Good talking to you.
You as well.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. Do we have a little more to say, like release schedule-wise, maybe?
Well, my new server should be coming this week. Probably going to be home from college next weekend. So hopefully, once I get Linux and Mumble server and everything configured and up on the web, hopefully eventually we'll be able to get a regular release schedule going. But for now, unfortunately, based on how shaky or oddly things went this first time.
That wasn't necessarily our fault, though. It was
No.
Again, it was her sketchy internet connection.
No, I mean,
that.
even just configuring it for the first time when I first
Oh, the whole
started
configuration system. That was
my
insane.
nightmare with Pulse Audio.
That was a nightmare.
And then no sync.
Nightmare and a half there.
That was a nightmare, but hopefully I'll be able to find a nice, easy way to do it, and hopefully the new server I get will be sufficient to have running for more than a week at a time, so I could just
Aim for excellence.
Yes.
That's sufficiency.
I guess.
So with this, we're going to call it a night. If you want to keep in contact with me, you could find my public Twitter, New Lunar Radio. You send me a private message, follow me, send me a message, whatever. I'll do my best to answer you as quick as possible, answer your questions, take your suggestions, whatever you want. If you want to contact me personally, you have my personal Twitter, synesthesia, SYNES7HESIA. Same name as my Reddit account, so if you have a Reddit, feel free to stop by and say hi. Hopefully we can do this more in the future and get some... okay, I'm sorry for my laughter here.
No. What are you pointing at me for?
Tonic here is playing a game he made in Java, speaking of programming. His reactions are making me laugh. Anyway, this is Synesthesia from New Lunar Radio, signing off.
This is Tonic, signing off.